Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, Kader. Thank you, Mr. Vijay Raghavan, for this opportunity, for this invitation to be here this afternoon. My talk is going to be on educating children with autism, specifically on finding a way through the curriculum thicket, as we experienced recently in the Dubai Autism Center, where one of our major tasks is now to develop a curriculum or identify a curriculum suitable for children with autism. And this presentation is based on the work that we are currently doing. The project is ongoing. It's not yet completed. So this is mainly based on that. One of the first questions that we had to face was, what should we teach our children with autism? Not only did Dubai Autism Center as an organization face this question, this is a question that most professionals face from parents and teachers in terms of what do we teach these children in addition to the therapy or therapeutic services that they receive. And we were faced with some of these options. Are we going to decide or choose the recommended curriculum? The recommended curriculum is the curriculum that is prescribed by the government or the educational authorities in various countries. So do we go with the recommended curriculum for these children, or do we go for the prepackaged or the boxed curriculum, as they are known as, which are available, commercially available in most countries? Do we go adopt one of these curriculum for our children, or do we go for assessed curriculum? Just decide on what is usually not only taught to children in schools, but mainly what is assessed, and just teach those contents and then get them ready for a certificate. Now in India, we know that there are many places where children with autism are actually taught the assessed curriculum. And there are two ways in which this is being done, right or wrong. There are two ways in which this is being done. One is to actually choose a curriculum, a regular curriculum, like for example, the curriculum by the National Open School or the National Institute of Open Schooling, and teach these children only those topics or answers for which a question is going to be asked. The other way of looking at it is where the material or the tool that is used to assess itself becomes the curriculum that is taught. Like this academic year, the child is, say, assessed using the PEP3, the psychoeducational profile, the third edition, and all those items that the child did not score or pass were taken up as IEP goals and objectives, and they were taught, and then the same tool was being used again the next academic year or the end of the academic year, and that's how the curriculum went. Or do we go for an alternative curriculum? In Dubai, where I now work, the Ministry of Education and the law in Dubai, UAE, now requires an alternative curriculum. The Dubai Inclusive Education Framework specifically calls for an alternative curriculum for students with special needs if they are not able to learn the recommended curriculum. Say if it's the Ministry of Education curriculum of the UAE or the British or the American, Canadian, or the Australian, or the Indian curriculum. So those children who are not able to learn the curriculum should be provided with an alternative curriculum, and at the moment, we do not have an alternative curriculum. So it is in this context that the Dubai Autism Center was specifically asked to come up with a curriculum which may, in future, be used as an alternative curriculum as required by the law in that country. And the other option that was recommended to us was the ecology-based or the community-referenced curriculum, on which a lot of work has been done by Professor David Bain and his wife Karen Bain from Canada. So these were some of the options or choices that we had. And the second question that we had to answer was, what should be the desired outcome of teaching a curriculum? Why are we going to teach a curriculum? There were instances where we were asked, wouldn't therapy be enough? On top of the therapy, does these children need an education in terms of going through a regular school curriculum or a special functional curriculum? So we looked at why, what would be the possible outcomes of teaching this curriculum? Is it independence? Independence to the maximum extent that is possible? Is it for a job, so that end of this curriculum they can find a suitable job, find an employment? Is it for the higher education purposes? There are definitely many children with autism who are moving or who would like to go for higher education. So do we cater to their needs? Or is it survival? Or in other words, are we going to teach them the curriculum so that in whichever community that they live, they are able to live independently, functionally in that community? And I guess the answer would be across all these options that we have. The third question that we had to deal with was this: how do we develop a curriculum that is subject-centered, learner-centered, and problem-centered, all at the same time? Now, when you look into curriculum design, these are the three basic curriculum designs: subject-centered, learner-centered, and problem-centered. Is there a way in which we can integrate or blend all these three into the curriculum that we are developing? Meanwhile, we were also aware of some of these issues with the curriculum. One is the quality of the curriculum. The traditional definition of quality education is actually based on the performance of an academic achievement test, especially the academic achievement test. How well do you do in the academic achievement test determines how good or what standard the curriculum that has been taught has. And this curriculum, we know, sometimes is meaningless for children with special needs, and mainly because there is no reference made to the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are required to function effectively in their daily lives. The second is rote learning, where children with special needs, including those with autism, especially high-functioning autism, are taught information that they are expected to learn rote and appear for the examination. So, and this was primarily done to complete high school education, and children end up getting a certificate of high school education or senior secondary school education. And then what? Now, this is an issue that we face in our country right now, where there are children who complete their class 10 examination or class 12 examination, and then they face the new terminology that I got this morning, the services cliff, because beyond that there is nothing available for them. And as Dr. Pavan was mentioning about the opportunities for college education, we have very limited opportunities for our children to go for higher education. So what happens is that they are taught a curriculum that is meaningless. They are expected to learn this curriculum by rote. They pass somehow, and then they have nothing else to do. Irrelevant curriculum, in the sense that if the taught curriculum does not help the child with autism to function in that child's community, then of what use is this curriculum to the student? There is also this issue of length of schooling versus what is the eventual outcome of the schooling, because both in UAE and in India, I see, especially with children with autism, there is this time bargaining between the therapeutic services and the school education, where sometimes children go for therapy sessions that they are not able to attend school on a regular basis. And how does that affect the child's education, particularly in the scenario where we do not have facilities for offering therapeutic services in the regular education system as much as we would like to have it. Now, it is in this context that we were offered a choice of whether a community referenced curriculum would be the best option that is suitable for us. Community referenced curriculum is based on identifying the knowledge, skills, attitudes that children need to function in the community that they live in currently or in the future. So here we are not only looking at what the child needs to learn currently, but also say 3 years or 5 years from now. Where is this child likely to be? And what are the likely needs that this child may have, say 3 years from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, and then plan your curriculum. So it calls for blending contents of an academic curriculum into teaching about skills needed for the community in which the children live. The concept of ecological based curriculum and the community reference curriculum is actually is by Professor David Bain from Edmonton, Alberta in Canada, who is one of the experts who is trying to help Dubai Autism Center come up with the curriculum. So the DAC curriculum, as it is at the moment known as, is at its development stage. We have developed a curriculum framework, and we are being helped by experts, professors from the US, from Canada, UK, Finland, Sweden, and Australia, other than United Arab Emirates. So what has been done so far is to develop the curriculum framework. We have 4 to 5 domains that has been identified. The first is on cognitive, with the subdomains of concepts, literacy, numeracy, STEAM, and the subject. STEAM is actually the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math in education in our daily life. And as far as subjects is concerned, we have 2 pathways, the functional pathway and the academic pathway. The academic pathway is for those high-functioning children who are able to complete their school education and move forward to college education, and the functional pathway is for those children who, by the time they are in high school, we know they are not able to go for the higher education stream. The second domain relates to life and living, which includes daily living skills, household skills, life skills, leisure, and pre-vocational subdomains. Third is effective, which has 2 subdomains, social and communication, and this domain is going to take care of all the speech, language, and the communication needs of these children that these children would have in terms of the therapy that they would need. Sensory motor, mainly on primary motor skills, primary senses, and the secondary senses, to which our psychology colleagues have also added one more further domain called behavior, where the positive behavior support is going to be included. And the idea is to blend all this, integrating subject, learner, and problem-centered curriculum design to the curricular domains of cognitive, life and living, affective, and sensory motor, and then related to the community reference curriculum, where for all the topics that are taken from the regular curriculum, the lessons are planned keeping in mind the community that the child is coming from. So, education for that child becomes not only meaningful, but it also becomes useful for that child to function in the community that the child is going to live in. Now, for those of you who would like to read about Dr. David Bain's work on community reference curriculum, this is the recent book that he has come out with, Developing Community Reference Curricula for Marginalized Communities, published by Vector International Publications. Thank you.